Hi, welcome to Mercurious Being. I'm Amy Jensen here with the last lunation of 2023, and it is a Cancer full moon exact on December 26th at 6:33 p.m., and that is Central Time Zone. So we have the moon up here at 4 degrees Cancer, 58 minutes, the sun at 4 degrees Capricorn, 58 minutes. So the 26th of December, just 5 days after the winter solstice. And so 0 degrees Capricorn here, winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. So really like the new moon of the new year, as I said in my last video, the darkest point of the winter. And now December 26th, we're starting to get lighter, very slowly up here in the north, and we will be getting to witness a beautiful full moon on December 26th, so really bringing light up in the sky during the night, which will encourage and foster the light and growth coming in as we start this new year and end the new year. As I said in my last video, I always feel like the solstice is really the beginning of the new year for me, the way I feel the energies of the year. But the calendar year is ending. So there's always this energy of beginning and ending, and then the sun in the foundational sign of Capricorn, as we talked about the last couple times, really envisioning and imagining this new growth. And then the moon is reflecting the light of the sky, the light of the sun in the sky, after this very important point of the year, one of the four, big points energetically and also astronomically in the year, the two solstices, the highest point, the lowest point of light, the summer winter solstices, and then the equinoxes in the spring and fall being that time of balance and equal day and night. And also accompanying the winter solstice, as I mentioned in the last video, was the inferior conjunction of Mercury with the sun. So all of this foundational energy beginning, and the meeting of Mercury with the sun is that messenger energy, this intermediary of your inner wishes and desires, like the seeds planted and moved forward. Okay, so that was what already happened. This is what is happening now with the full moon. The full moon really reflecting this foundational and new energy of Capricorn, and the moon holding the energy in Cancer. A lot of strength in that. The moon rules Cancer, so there's a lot of strength to this moon, and illuminating the energy of imagination and creativity and fluidity. And so we have the softness but strength of this moon in Cancer, reflecting and shining back that light of the sun in Capricorn. This very, I just keep saying it, foundational energy. Let's move into the Sabian symbols for this lunation. And I'm just kind of paraphrasing them, or just kind of pulled some of them out, this time from Martin Goldsmith's book, which I will have a link to or mention in my information below. So the degree at which the sun is at, and I just thought this was interesting before I even started. There's just a little back and forth between the sun and the moon with the Sabian symbols. As far as the Capricorn Cancer energies go. So the sun is in the degree of untamed natural energy, and feeling as if we are one with instincts and impulses. following the law of one's being. So these again are just some thoughts pulled from this. Knowing which battles can be won, or phrases pulled from that. Not my own thoughts, his phrases, my thoughts will follow. Looking to the future, prepping for a societal role or leadership. Now that would be very Capricornian, but through imaginative play. So drawing in that Cancerian energy. Let me read that again. So looking to the future, so kind of this concern for children and building, prepping for leadership or societal role, but through imaginative play. Studying the laws of history or nature, so again, kind of the underlying structures, and then living by them. So that's the degree the sun is in. The degree in which the moon has the associations of mature versus immature judgment, knowing when to speak and act and when not to, calculating outcomes before speaking or acting versus recklessly jumping into something, thinking on one's feet, instant analysis and rapid decision-making that makes all the difference when a situation is in spin, disrupting people's expectations and mental ruts, knowing when to bail out of a bad situation versus attempting to change a situation that has too much of its own inertia or momentum. So there's this lunation, this light, reflecting back and forth, as we always have, this polarity between signs during every lunation. But I just love that there is this energy within the moon of still discerning this mature versus immature, jumping into something impulsively, but then also kind of that Capricornian reserve, like, no, I'm going to sit back and be quiet. And then kind of that moon energy of maybe the changing nature of the moon, getting people out of their ruts. And then kind of helping change a situation that has inertia or momentum, but also knowing when to just stop and release, because it's like, no, the situation, just leave it. Don't stay there. So I don't know. Am I making sense here? I'm kind of jumping back and forth with this, but that's what I feel is happening. It's a very good balance. Let me put it this way. Of the two energies, even being in polarity, but like the teeter-totter, I know I've used that before, the teeter-totter energy of a lunation, of a full moon, but there's a really great flow of energy and exchange, there we go, between the polarity, okay? So this energizing, enlivening aspect, kind of this impulsiveness and recklessness, but also weighing and calculating, deciding, interrupting, perhaps, to help get out of a rut, and then following the law of one's being, kind of this wisdom of oneself and one's being, knowing that, or knowing what can be changed, and then like doing something to get out of that rut, to change it, or maybe just acknowledging and releasing what can't be changed. Okay, so some of the new moon aspects. I keep saying new moon. Okay, maybe I didn't say that in this video, but I started before and I kept saying new moon. So what I meant to say is the new moon of Sagittarius energies are kind of drawn into this as well. The new moon in Sagittarius, the ruler was Jupiter. So we have aspects from Jupiter and Saturn to this lunation. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and we just had the winter solstice ruled by Capricorn, and then the Mercury retrograde cycle is in Capricorn, and we just had that inferior conjunction with Mercury and the Sun in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about structures and it represents the bones and the skins in the body. It represents the aging functions. And now I've kind of digressed a bit. And then, so Saturn is all about condensing and time and form. And then Jupiter also having these aspects to the lunation, Jupiter ruling the last lunation of Sagittarius, Jupiter having an expansive principle, okay? But they're both weighing in, if you can see here. Jupiter has a sextile and a trine, sextile to the moon, trine to the sun. Saturn has a trine to the moon and a sextile to the sun. What does that mean in English? Good question. Both the sextile and the trine are very harmonious flows. So this sun and moon polarity, this full moon, has the support of expansion, just the right amount, and contraction from Saturn, just the right amount. So I just love this. So there's this interplay between both of those, but then we've got the wild card Uranus weighing in with a little bit of a semi-square and a square and a half, but then a quintile, well, biquintile actually, excuse me, to Mercury. Biquintile is a creative minor aspect. They're all minor aspects from Uranus. So as before, it was a little more of a disruptive energy from Uranus. But this is more like the energy mentioned in the moon description. So kind of getting one out of one's rut. So I'm intrigued by this lunation. So I guess I'm a little excited and a little ahead of myself. So when in doubt, look at one's notes. So this harmonious aspect to both the sun and the moons, just the right amount of support. Jupiter is in Taurus, it's an earth sign. Saturn is in Pisces, it's a water sign. Capricorn's an earth sign. Cancer is a water sign. So there's this flowing and engaging but stabilizing energy to this. Okay, optimism and hopefulness of Jupiter, but just the right amount of temperance, deliberation, and determination from Saturn. Taurus rules the heart center, and that's where Jupiter's at. So what are your heart's desires at this lunation? Saturn is in the sacral center. Okay, so again, kind of flowing with that sense of being a spirit in form, or being bringing form to formlessness. And then the sun is in the root chakra. The moon is in the moon center, the back of the back part of the Ajna chakra. So we have kind of an innate intuition happening with the moon position. We have the sun in the foundational position of the root chakra. Saturn is in the pelvis, the sacral chakra. So that flowing movement of the hips would be good. Grounding yoga movements of stability of the legs and feeling rootedness in the body. But then fostering a sense of the heart center. And of course, so those are just the planets, and Uranus is also in the heart. So again, what's the little impulse telling you? What do you really want to go towards? And maybe this is the time to kind of jumpstart that. All right. So I wrote 1,000,000 pages of notes, and then I kind of came back to just distilling it all. So taking the positions of, Pluto at this lunation. Okay, we have Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. I guess I was going to say a few things about that. So last degree of Capricorn direct, holding the energy, Pluto, the god of transformation, the god of death and rebirth. So we had the sun going into Capricorn on the solstice, 0 degrees Capricorn. We have Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn, kind of holding the energy. And now the sun is moving through the sign of Capricorn It's only at 4 degrees, 58 minutes for this lunation, but it's moving toward Pluto. Boom. The new moon will be on January 11th. I'll be back for that. And then, so Pluto's holding the energy of the last degree of Capricorn until the sun catches up with it on January 19th. And then they'll both go into Aquarius January 20th. And I will talk more about that at the next lunation. Pluto had gone into Aquarius last March. I think it was March 23rd, 2023. Then it dipped back out like June 11th or 12th. And then it will go back into Aquarius this January. And then it will go back out again. And then it will come back in for the next 20 years in November of this next year, November 20th, 2024. So again, we're kind of exploring the last degrees of Capricorn before we move into this new air sign of Aquarius with Pluto. Again, we've been there. We're coming back into it. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but there's just this, and we've got a whole other year of it going back into Capricorn and deciding what other things need to be tidied up. There we go. So I've been feeling that a lot in my personal life. And I'm just feeling that a lot of forward energy for 2024. I was going to say for good or for ill, but no, for good if we take it, right? If we take this energy and move with it and get our own foundations right. Okay, so I kind of wanted to end this, that we really are ending the year with the right amount. Okay, the right amount of natural energy and natural impulses. The right amount of understanding the laws of nature and the patterns of history. The right amount of discernment with speech and silence, work and play, waiting and acting, the right amount of disruption, and the right amount of the status quo. The right amount of support and self-sufficiency, that Capricorn energy, the right amount of expansion and contraction, so that Jupiter-Saturn play, the right amount of understanding the nature of the cosmic clock, the right amount of courage and confidence in your ability to go forward, and the right amount of wisdom from life's past experiences, the right amount of the completion of past karmas, and the right amount of release of materiality and the unfoldment of spirituality, a sense of being a spirit in materiality. The right amount of releasing anger, resentment, and power issues. The right amount of directing your mind and your energy toward your highest purposes and most positive qualities. The right amount of directing your mind and your energy, which I just repeated, so I guess that was important, and the right amount of energy directed toward expanding your knowledge, deepening into your wisdom, your self-knowledge, and expanding your spiritual horizon. The right amount of taking care of yourself, honoring your physical well-being, your health, your vitality. The right amount of time spent dreaming, and dreaming while physically asleep, and then dreaming imaginatively while awake. The right amount of respect of your physical body, loving and gentle care of your physical self, the right amount of managing your own destiny, moving toward your goals, the right amount of insight into interconnectedness of all things and the hidden patterns and meaning which underlie the fabric of our lives. And at the end of the year, this sense of releasing into the knowingness of the all-encompassing underlying pattern, this web of connectedness, releasing into the penetrating energy, that spark of divinity, which enlivens and exists within each and every single atom in this physical material realm, and releasing into this radiance, the prismatic division and coherence of all light, whether that light is within you, without, in the world, and releasing into wholeness, integration, reflection of light at this full moon. Releasing into reclaiming all parts of yourself, your ancestors, healing the past while living in the future, and moving more and more deeply into this present moment, growing into the light, growing around and healing through experience, becoming stronger, more solid, more integrated, and more whole and complete. This ever-evolving wholeness and completion, always unfolding into even more perfection. So at the end of this year, this calendar year, as we're on the edge of the new year, I just want to take a moment again and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all of the support and the input and the comments, and I am excited for what unfolds in 2024. Until the next time, namaste.